Oh man, this is bad, guys. Silicon Valley Bank is officially closed in the biggest banking failure since the global financial crisis. This is going to have huge ramifications far beyond crypto. And now we start worrying about the potential global financial crisis, a repeat of 2008, 2009, which saw many years of hardship. Am I over-exaggerating? Is this a reality? We're going to break that down and look at what's going on right now. But the first thing we need to understand is the bank has been shot by the regulators. They were trying to get a sale. They were trying to raise $2 billion. That was futile, and the regulators stepped in. Now, this is where regulators did a good job. We know that with the Celsius collapse, with FTX and all the other stuff, because that regulatory certainty wasn't there, you didn't have somebody stepping in. Now, what happened here? The FDIC, which remember insures individuals in the US, we have something similar here in the UK, they insure you up to $250,000 per depositor per bank, okay? So they stepped in, they said enough is enough, we're not going to let you blow all the last bit of liquidity you've got, we'll take control of the deposits and we'll let people get their deposits next week. So they've jumped in and they've gone ahead and done that. Now, this is not good, guys. We've got to understand how big is Silverbank. If you take a look here at the top banks in the US, they sit at position 18th on this list. Again, they're somewhere here between 18 and 15, depending on when the data was updated. They're a decent size. It's not huge. It's not going to create huge ramifications to the extent of Lehman Brothers. It reminds us of what is going on right now in the markets. And what is going on is there's this hunt for liquidity. Why did SVB, Silicon Valley Bank, who funded many of the major venture capital firms and tech startups, right? Many of them banked with them. Why did they struggle? They struggled because they were searching for yield in the US 10-year Treasury. They're searching for the yield, trying to get some money because interest rates are going up because they need to make money, right? And then at the same time, the value of the bonds they were holding, the face value of the bonds they were holding, started to fall. That leads them to have a liquidity gap. This is a huge problem. Now the focus turns on to what could the contagion be? Contagion meaning who else is in trouble? Straight away, you can see here many of the banks here are performing down on the week. This is their weekly performance. You can see here 61% obviously here. First Republic Bank down 50%. Western Alliance, Signature Bank, another big one in the crypto space. The banks are getting wrecked. And this now puts pressure on Jerome Powell and the US government to see if they need to step in and intervene. Crypto, of course, is not responding too well on the news, down 2% today. We did have an intraday rally after the jobs report showed a little bit of a softening. Go watch my video earlier today breaking down the jobs report, what that means for the crypto markets. There was a high headline figure, but there were some improvements in the inflationary reading, showing that maybe a wage price spiral isn't too likely.
It's not every day that we have a bank failure, Gene, so I do wonder if you worry as an economist about potential spillover effects, even if it is unique in terms of their deposit base and their venture capital exposure, about tighter lending standards for the rest of the financial system, which has already been happening on the back of deposits that have been falling.
You know, look, there's no question that when you have anything like this, if you're at the White House, if you're at Treasury, you're at the Federal Reserve, you know, yes, you're going to be looking exactly at what you're saying. Are there knock-on effects? How much is this a one-off? Does it reflect other challenges? But, you know, like all of you, we're going to monitor the situation. But it is also important to remember that this economy has shown, as we saw at the jobs numbers today, significant resilience really across the board. So, you know, one should be concerned, but just like one shouldn't overreact to a positive sign, you know, one should look carefully at a negative sign, and this will be a focus going forward. But, you know, we're monitoring. We're, you know, of course, you never like to see a situation like that. But again, I want to point to the resilience of the economy. And of course, I can't help suggesting, though, that this shows why you don't play games with the U.S. economy. And I think one thing one could do to help the entire financial and economic system is take off the table the idea that that the GOP is going to risk a financial default, you know, over their demands, which I think, as we've seen, quite unreasonable demands on the budget. Let's have that discussion, but let's let financial markets know right now nobody is going to be holding the U.S. economy or the U.S. financial system hostage by saying if they don't get their way, they're going to default the U.S. government and have an unprecedented financial catastrophe.
If you've made it this far into the video and you someday want to be able to read the markets, do technical analysis, trade as we are doing on this channel, then perhaps you may want to check out my free technical analysis from scratch course over on SKILLSHARE. For those who aren't familiar, SKILLSHARE is an online education platform. You sign up for a nominal amount each month and you get access to a wide variety of different courses. I personally use it to learn all sorts of things, from video editing to financial to using Excel and various other bits and pieces that you may want to learn. It's far better than YouTube on those elements, because on YouTube everything is about retention, whereas with a course you can put things in a structured curriculum, and that is exactly what I've done with my TA course. It's completely free for the first 30 days. If you click the link in the description, ijaz.uk/TA, to take advantage of the TA course. Let me know what you think about it, and let's get back into this video. To take a look at some of the other contagion effects, Signature Bank stock down 12% in volatile action as the sell-off continues. So you can see here, Signature Bank shares fall as much as 30% in early trading on Friday as the reverberations of the Silvergate collapse spread through the banking sector. In volatile action, quickly bounced back from the plunge to be 12% down at the time of this article, but it's another contagion fear. Markets are very worried right now. If we take a look at the Fed rate monitor tool and get a refresh of that, you can see 46% of the market is pricing in 50 base points, but this now gets beyond that. What are we going to see? Is the government going to step in? What are they going to do to resolve the liquidity? We know from early indications, a lot of the money that was coming out of Silverbank as people were running on the bank, right, to take their deposits out. You had Peter Thiel coming out and advising all his firms that he, part of his group, he said, get your money out of there. Why would you wait, right? Why would you wait and be the last one? We remember when we covered this off with Terra Luna and Anchor Protocol, we covered it off with FTX. Why would you wait? Just get your money off, be safe, because you don't know what the position of these companies are. Now, what we need to understand is this is something I spoke about going back towards the end of last year. What did I say? I said that this financial dip, this bear market, will culminate in a big collapse. And who was that collapse going to be? We thought it was FTX. But you got to remember, FTX is crypto specific. What is going to be those big collapses in the traditional markets, which really indicate that we're in that pain? And now you're definitely seeing it. This is well beyond crypto. This is now getting us to painful territory. And anybody who thinks there's going to be a quick fix, a lot of people thought that January rally in crypto was you know, we're going to the moon. And I kept saying, no, we're not. We're in the control of the bears. The situation is not fixed. Inflation is not fixed. Jerome Powell is still hiking. Labor markets are still tight. The liquidity trap is still there. This is now highlighting what is going on. Interesting to note, the US 10 years plummeted 5% down to 3.7. You got the dollar index falling as well. Normally, you would say that these would indicate risk on, and it's a good sign for Bitcoin. But given the market we're in right now, it's a major mess. I'm sitting back waiting to see where the cards fall, because not for a moment do I think this is it. If a bank as big as SVB could be collapsing, who are going to be the beneficiaries? We know a lot of the funds have flown to JP Morgan and some other banks as well, but who else is struggling? Who else will this contagion affect? We're going to find out over the next days and weeks. If you want to learn more about Silverbank and what is going on, how it could affect the broader markets, and also whether the government should intervene or not, definitely head over to my Twitter at RealIjaz1 and go check out this thread where I cover off the pros and cons of whether the government should intervene. It's important to remember, guys, that the FDIC insurance only covers that $250K. There will be others who have huge amounts of money in the bank tied up, millions of dollars, and they're only going to get insured onto the $250K limit. What does that mean? This is going to create more troubles, more liquidity crises, and we're going to have to watch to see what the fallout of this is going to be. One thing is for sure, this is big. This is not just crypto. This is a big liquidity crunch, and this is just the early innings. Don't forget to smash the likes. Don't forget to subscribe. As always, check out the links in the description.